What's going on, everybody? Cruddy Kid Fanatics back here again. Another very special guest, Bo Mitchell, aka Brooks and Cobra Kai. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, what's up, dude? Karate Kid Fanatics. How's it
Yeah,
going? Thanks for having
going
me.
great. Going great. Yeah, I gotta ask you, you being, you're OG to Cobra Kai season one. So what was it like for you to be able to come back, in Cobra Kai season six?
Yeah, man. You know, really special feeling, obviously, because my character's always had these ins and outs in the series, and I've always been really pleased with how they plugged my character in to the storyline. But being back on season six was great. It felt like a family reunion, so I was stoked, man. It was a great time.
The last we seen of you was obviously, your fight with Hawk. What was it like just being able to have that interaction, them kind of letting bygones be bygones and, just kind of reasserting yourself into the, story.
Yeah, dude. Hey, it was really kind of just a special thing, honestly, because I think it's really easy to get caught up in the beef, in the
Right.
in
Yeah.
the and all that, and I think that it showed a lot of maturity in uh, the way that the Brucks character kind of healed himself and off screen, right? Because you don't really get to see any of that, but then also you get to see Hawk's transition.
Right.
um, and then yeah, so seeing them come together was a really good way to tie that up. And it's also nice because I think our beef is one of the few that has gotten really sorted out by words thus far.
Right. Yeah.
Most of the time, it ends up with a fight,
Yeah.
which is fine.
Sure.
And we
Yeah.
kind of did end on a fight, but it was great that we got to
Yeah.
come back
Right.
and put words to it.
Yeah, for sure. Spoke with you since season three. So what was it like filming, the beatdown scene and just what was that, kind of like?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Hey, it was really intense. I mean,
Please, stop! Finish it!
there's a lot of, a lot. It was very fast paced, and I've always been, um, kind of lucky enough to and be able to convince them to let me do my own stunts. So,
Yeah.
getting to be in the middle of that, and really just sending it like we're going full speed. He's pulling
Right.
the air, his foot's like a few inches from my face, and like I'm trying to hit him, and like we're tackling each other. So that's just really fun, honestly,
Yeah.
because when you're one on one, those combat scenes are way more intense. For good reason, but like you're just focusing on each other, and so there's a lot of intensity. The characters also usually are carrying a lot of intensity, and then the fight has to be more dialed,
Right.
because when it's a large group, you have all these moving parts, and the eye can, just kind of we're gonna pierce the veil of movie magic here. You can trick people to make it look like somebody in the back corner really got hit when we're like this far from each other or further away from
Right.
each other. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
when you're one on one, it's the you got to be like this close for it to
Right.
read often. Um, so that kind of just raises the level of intensity, but it was yeah, it was a really good time all in all, dude. It
Yeah.
was just so cool to see him as a friend grow as well, because we've really been working on this project for like 8 years now
Yeah.
almost, and there's
2017, right?
yeah, I know that the team's been working on it even longer. But so we kind of see each other grow up, and I just remember because I was like 20, 21 when I came in, but
Yeah.
he was 16. He was still doing like Hawk's character Jacob was still doing school, so he was like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
little kid, and I just remember him being very much a kid. And I came back for season three, and he was 18,
Yeah.
19, and the
Yeah.
kid actually had muscles. And I remember the kind of the reactions you saw Brooks making were very
Yeah.
well rooted in me actually being like, oh wow, this kid's like a man now with
Yeah.
muscles, and then a
Right.
fake hawk tattoo. So
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
some authentic reaction there. But all in all, man, super fun fight scene, and I was really stoked to be able to be a part of that character development for Hawk as well, because that is really a huge turning point for his character.
Right.
And so that was just super cool to see that happen. And I mean, thankfully they pulled me out for the actual ground and pound part, so I
Yeah.
I was not harmed.
Yeah.
Thankfully, and,
Yeah.
and didn't have to bear that. But yeah,
Yeah.
man, really cool to watch and be part of.
Yeah, one thing I do gotta throw in about that, I was at a panel that Martin Cove was at, and he was actually saying that was one of his favorite scenes that has been shot in the show just because of, like, he's overlooking it, and I guess they had him, like, punching a piece of meat or something, I can't remember exactly what he said, but
Yeah,
something
I
along those
think
lines.
the special effects rig that I recall was actually really funny because it was so stupid simple, but it worked.
Yeah, yeah,
Was
yeah.
a pillow with a paper plate and a bunch of fake blood pooled in the plate,
Right.
and then it was just him sitting down like this, and punching the
Yeah.
plate, um, and so stupid simple, but it felt real and it worked. But yeah, no, that was a menacing. I mean, that's one of the few times I think in the entire franchise, really. You're talking about multiple movies, the whole series. One of the few times where you really get to see the Cobra Kai mentality actually enacted, where it's
Right,
like
yeah, 100%.
strike, strike fast, strike hard, and then Kreese
Yeah,
is like finish him.
yeah,
He's like an
yeah,
actual
yeah,
fatality happens.
yeah.
That's one of the. So yeah, I mean, I think it just carries a lot of weight in general because of that.
With those, what was it like just being able to be in that Cobra Kai dojo, for that episode? Because we'd seen your character, but we haven't seen him like in a karate setting at any time.
hmm It was cool, man. It was fun. It was kind of like, there's a lot of, hanging out on set. I've been hanging out on set and, seeing them do the dojo scenes, but
Right.
being in there as a character, definitely a different experience. There's a lot of energy they pack into that room. Everybody's really serious. I mean, they take, all the actors do a good job because you have like, when they say os and they like, when they do their kind of movements and they're actually saying how when they punch, like every actor's
Right.
doing that every take as loud as they can. Like it is
Yeah.
real. So being in
Yeah.
there, it's kind of like if you've ever been to like a large sporting event where you hear the crowd
Right.
roar and
Yeah.
it's this tickle in your stomach. It's you get that feeling. It's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Getting into the party in college scenes, where did you guys shoot that at? I'm assuming in Atlanta. Did y'all shoot that at like some probably soundstage? Where's that actual college, or where'd you guys shoot that at?
Yeah, the college. Yeah, this season. Yeah, that was actually in Atlanta at one of the colleges. Man, I don't quite remember exactly where that was, but it was a legit frat house we were in.
Yeah.
And it was one of the larger ones. There's an exterior shot when all the kids are walking into the party.
Right.
That is the house. The basement party scene where the fight happens, that is actually the basement of that house.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all the same place. Really
Yeah.
cool. It was really cool
Yeah.
little space to be in. I remember talking to the art department, and they actually they didn't have to do a lot of work because it was
Yeah.
already
Yeah.
decorated. It was
Right.
already really a frat house. So,
Yeah.
um, there's a couple little Easter eggs actually. If you look around, you'll notice some road signs hanging in the basement, and those are all
Yeah.
Atlanta, Georgia street names, and not and
Oh
not
wow.
like
Yeah.
and not street names that you would find in the valley. They
Yeah.
covered a few up, but there's one or two in there like that you might be able to notice if you look hard enough.
Yeah. With those scenes, like, what do they give y'all? Flavored water, or some type of, for because obviously y'all can't drink alcohol while filming. So what do y'all like a flavored type of water that y'all
Oh
drink in those scenes?
yeah. It's every different. There's tons of different ways that you can do it. Um,
Yeah.
Another funny thing is we're technically, as actors, you're also technically not allowed to consume caffeine. Um, so some people would say
Right.
like a good what makes a really good fake whiskey is tea, is black tea, like what you'd make a I'm from the
Yeah.
south, sweet tea, right? um Makes an
Yeah. Me too.
amazing, it
Yeah.
looks just like it looks so good. But you can't use it because
Right.
it's got caffeine in it. So it's like it's
Caffeine. Yeah.
funny, yeah, but we just apple juice is usually a good go-to. Just seltzer waters,
Right.
the when you see beer cans, they're usually either sodas that are wrapped, or they're sometimes they're non-alcoholic beers that
Right.
are usually just dumped
Yeah.
and just filled back in with some, like I said, some seltzer water or
Right.
something,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, every now and then do a little. I think that might not have been on this set, but I've done Kool-Aid and like food coloring and stuff to make it look
Yeah.
like punch, to make it look like whiskey.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a mix of all that, man.
Yeah. One of the funnier parts from part one, what was it like getting to film the fight scene, get to slam the guy through the table and tell him he got Brooks and all that stuff?
Get Brucks!
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, I mean, seriously, amazing time, dude. Like, it was
Yeah.
like so fun, man. I mean, always, like, I love doing the stunts. I love physical comedy as a realm of entertainment. I personally am a fan of martial arts, and I practice myself, and so getting to do that, getting to cross these two worlds is really fun and satisfying, and being just having a character that like gets like a catchphrase is so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so that was just really fun. Like, I remember authentically after I did the slam and I said that, I think obviously, I was smiling, but that was really authentic. I was just like, in my head,
Yeah.
I was like, this
Right.
is, I can't believe I
Yeah.
just kind of did that. Like, whoa, like that was cool. And
Yeah.
then, translated the character. But yeah, dude, so cool, so
Yeah.
fun. Like, and the team is just amazing.
Right.
The poor guy that I was slamming the table, he was so great at what he did, and we worked
Yeah.
through it together.
Yeah.
And he basically was just like, yeah, I'm gonna throw myself, and you just kind of guide me. And we
Right.
practiced a few times, and then I think we only did that shot twice. We only did it
Oh
twice,
wow.
but
Yeah.
yeah, and we got it, and so that was great. I didn't have to slam that guy through the table a bunch.
Yeah. What was it like getting to film Johnny Lawrence's first fight scene? Since Karate Kid, I was able to see that episode in theaters. What was it like to be able to be in his resurgence into the universe?
Yeah, that's super cool. You got to see that in theaters. That's rad, dude. Johnny Lawrence. Well, I always think about when I first got booked for the role, and I was driving down to Atlanta to film it, and I remember talking with my manager, and I was just kind of like, I think this is gonna be a pretty big deal, because
Yeah.
it was on YouTube. It was
YouTube
set to go to
Red. Yeah.
YouTube. Yeah, and it was like uh decent budget, a lot of good names, obviously Karate Kid, but even like hearing about John Josh and Hayden being attached, and but it was kind of an underdog thing still. Like, I
Right.
just remember thinking like, well, this is gonna be done really well, but at the same time we're like, what's gonna happen with this? But dude, no, I got getting there and meeting them and seeing like just how serious this was being taken, and
Right.
how passionately everyone was working. I was like, oh, this is gonna be a big deal. And then
Yeah.
I like got into that fight scene. And I just remember that was kind of me first meeting those guys. I was begging them. I was like, look, guys, I want to go get my ass kicked. Excuse my language, but like,
Yeah.
I want
Yeah.
to get in
Yeah.
there.
Absolutely.
And so we was able to kind of convince them of that. And I remember doing the scene. And dude, the biggest thing that sticks out to me about that is like I'm stoked to carry this like imaginary accolade or imaginary badge that I actually got my leg swept by Johnny.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I always think that's super cool. But yeah, dude, no, that was rad, and even doing the scene, I didn't know the impact it had. But then when you
Right.
watch it, it's like they play that old like synth pop music, synth rock
Yep.
music, and then he's like kind of like kicking our butts, but he's like
Yeah.
old and like, oh, it hurt, and like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's so cool, dude. It's so sick.
Yeah.
I'm stoked on it.
Yeah. You've been in a variety of fight scenes through the show. What is your favorite one you personally got to be a part of?
Yeah, dude. Um, that cafeteria fight was really cool.
Yeah.
Just
Oh
because
yeah.
I don't think that really got released, but there was a master we shot where they had brought a crane into the cafeteria. And so they had this crane. It was a huge cafeteria. It probably had 50, 60 foot ceilings. Um, and they brought this crane in. They had this camera 20, 30 feet in the air, and they shot a master, ultra wide master, um,
Yeah.
and basically that was really cool because you're in this scenario where it's more like a play where everyone is in it. There's no safe spot to be,
Right.
and everyone's got to be 100%. Even the extras. The extras have to nail it.
Right.
And we did that, and I remember just when that wrapped up, how yeah, just how awesome that felt in that room. Everybody kind of broke out into applause and cheer, because I mean, we had 50, 60 extras running around on top
Oh
of us
yeah.
actually doing the fighting. So it
Yeah. Felt
felt
legit.
gnarly because you're surrounded by people. So that's probably my favorite, next to this one we just did in the basement, the frat, because that was
Yeah.
a similar situation. I think we had 15 to 20 fighters in that scene,
Yeah.
and like, dude, that was that was intense as well because we were kind of in an opposite scenario. We were crammed in a room, right?
Right.
And um, even though we were all very choreographed, it was like, hey, if you step
Yeah.
back an extra 6 inches too far, then Hawk's going to be kicking you in the face,
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
like it's so you gotta, everybody's got to be on point, and kind of have eyes in the back of their head. So yeah, that was a really cool one as well.
Yeah. I got to ask you, you got a lot of time, kind of with Jacob and Sholo and Gianni again. What was it like just being able to work with those guys again?
Dude, yeah, it's always cool. I think I said this before. It's just like just a great like family vibe. Everyone knows everyone. I mean, they've done a great job of keeping a lot of the same crew members, which is so special
Right.
because you get there and you know everybody, and it just is so
Yeah.
comfortable. So it's like a family reunion, high school reunion type of thing, and then obviously seeing the players too. Sholo and Jacob and so forth. Just always really cool, man. Because I mean,
Yeah.
we keep in touch, but it's one of those things where everybody's so busy that you might get a couple texts a year, maybe get a call every now and then, or you might run into
Yeah.
each other. Um, but when this happens, you get to actually kind of rekindle that bond and hang and
Yeah.
get some hang time in, and so it's always really special. And I mean, I'm 29, they're all 22, 23,
Yeah.
and so for me, just being a little older,
Yeah.
watching them kind of grow up is a really cool
Yeah.
feeling, because I'm just like, man, yeah, look at these guys, they're killing it.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
remember when they couldn't drive to set, and when they had to
Yeah.
be getting, they had school every day, and now they're driving to set, and they have their own houses, and they're just adults running around. That's always pretty cool feeling. So,
Yeah. I loved the MIT thing. That was hilarious that they threw in.
dude, yeah, yeah. I mean, just kudos to the writers. Always something funny to say. I think that the way they did that too uh, was really was really tasteful. And I mean, it's also funny too because it was good. It was a good enough mix up that I think even the audience believed it for a while.
Yeah. Oh,
Like, I
100%.
guess
Yeah.
maybe he really did get MIT. It
Yeah.
wasn't.
Yeah.
It was yeah. That was a great bit for sure.
You got that through your seasons and your, stuff you got to be in. You got to have a scene with Ralph, Martin, and Billy. Which was your favorite of the three to be able to have a scene with?
Yeah, I mean, dude, they're I mean, all obviously all of them are legends. It's tough. Man, I mean, I mean, I always love kind of to make sure that everyone knows that Martin has an amazing ability to light a cigar in
Yeah.
any scenario. Uh,
Yeah.
and I don't even really smoke cigars, but
Yeah.
I've partaken a few times, and it's like those big stogies that his character smoke are pretty tough to get lit. Uh,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he just lights them, like effortlessly. And I just always thought that was a pretty cool little trick. But Yeah, I mean, I really, I'm really also fond of that interaction with Daniel Larusso, with Ralph's character, when I was in there, when I was in his house using his
Yeah,
bathroom and stuff.
with his shorts on.
Yeah, with his shorts on,
Whoa. Oh, you that bonsai guy, all those commercials. Wait, where'd everybody go?
that whole nine,
Yeah,
and yeah, that was just great. That was just
yeah,
cool to be able to kind of really get into a dialogue with him.
yeah,
So yeah, that was always a fun time. But I'll say this too. I think that Billy just as a person, just such a cool dude. He's just so
yeah,
down to earth. Like,
absolutely.
I remember we were talking during that first fight scene, because I usually always keep a skateboard with me, and I was just skating to him from my trailer in between breaks and resets, and he ended up just stopping me. We hung out and talked about skating, and he skated around for a minute with me on my board, and it was just super cool
Yeah,
little chat. So it's just really cool when you can have those honest interactions with people. So
yeah,
yeah,
100%. Have you seen the recent season at all, or just kind of your portion?
I seen sorry about that. I seen a good bit of it so far, but I haven't gotten all the way through it yet. No, and I was even talking to another Phil about this. We were doing an interview, and I was just like, yeah, I don't even know what's going on in the
Yeah,
rest of. Like, I'm
yeah,
with everyone else.
yeah,
Over the years they've started to do. I've always done a better and better job of protecting the integrity of the storyline. So it's like I don't know what's happening.
absolutely.
I'm with y'all.
Yeah,
Like, I got my
yeah,
script, and then I
yeah,
can see what's on Netflix. So,
yeah,
it's pretty cool. I'm happy about that personally. I like to enjoy the show myself as well. So,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah,
What do you think of the new Korean students coming in?
yeah, I think that's great. I mean, I think it's going to be super fun to see, where they go, and I think that I think it's a really cool, opportunity to bring more kind of new blood into the franchise, right? Because
Right.
you want to, I mean, we ideally would love the, it's just me as a fan, I think, I guess I'm speaking for some of the other fans, is that it would be awesome to just be able to um, have this kind of whole thing happen again in 15, 20 years, right?
Right.
Uh, and if not more in between, hopefully.
Right.
And
100%.
so right now, as much uh, doors you can open, as much as you can pack into the universe, right now is really crucial for the future opportunities with the storyline.
Right.
So I think that's another good reason to see all these new characters coming in. Yeah.
100%. I do got one thing I was gonna ask you, like, when y'all were shooting those pool scenes, was it ever like freezing cold while you guys were shooting that type of stuff? Because I know it's in Atlanta and it's a little cooler there than other
Yeah,
areas.
dude. Yeah, I mean, you know, they film this stuff all over, year round, right? It just depends on what they're
Right.
shooting. But there's definitely some times where you're freezing. Like,
Yeah.
I've seen BTS from this season because they were shooting in January and
Yeah.
February, and it does get pretty cold in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And you could see that all the actors were in their gis, and then everybody else had like North Face
Bundled
puffy
up. Oh yeah.
bundle.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, that's
Yeah.
rough. Like,
Yeah.
that's rough for the
Yeah.
actors. Like, you're freezing,
Yeah.
and there's just no way. There's really usually no good way around it
Yeah.
because it's just not ethical or not logistical. Excuse me, to like to be just flying in coats every time you cut. So most times you're just
Right.
like, all right, I'm gonna go an hour with just a
Yeah.
gi, and
Yeah.
it's 35. And there's kind of some of the unforeseen silliness, that hardships that actors have to face too. It's like, all right, I'm gonna sit here and just freeze,
Yeah.
so that
You
we
can
can
see
get the
you can
shot.
see him blowing smoke in certain shots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So totally, man.
As an actor, what is your favorite thing about it, and like, or something that you just really enjoy about doing it?
Just like acting as a whole, is
Yeah,
that
like
kind
for
of what?
you is
Yeah.
like yeah, just like way it brings you joy, or something along those lines.
Yeah, dude. Totally. Good question. I mean, yeah, man. Yeah, it's something I'm totally just passionate about, right? I mean,
Right.
as an art form, self-expression, and so forth. And yeah, I mean, it's just really like it's really something that's just um, close to my heart as well because I'm a fan. Like I watch so much stuff as a
Right.
fan, and I love the universes that are built out here in pop culture, right? And
Right.
these characters we get to meet and experience, and I really get excited about conveying ideas in these kind of deep, full meaning, abstract ways uh, through a story, right, or through a
Right.
character, or through a narrative, or through a script, through a movie, show, whatever. And just yeah, I mean, all and whatever that is, right? That could be a comedy or a drama, and so forth. But yeah, I
Right.
just super passionate about it, man. I really
Yeah.
am, stoked to get to do it. I I feel really in tune with when you're on. It's a special feeling when you're on a set as well, and everyone
Right.
is kind of focused, and they're all you kind of all have a hive mind,
Right.
um, where everyone's working towards this goal,
Yeah.
and it's a really special feeling as well. And so some of that stuff is just really kind of ethereal. When you
Right.
get out there and do it, and you're like, "Oh, this is awesome." You feel the buzz,
Absolutely.
And then yeah, there's also always the fun times of like, you get that rush of when you're performing. I mean, I do at least when I'm in a character and I'm working really hard at it, and then you get to go out and you shoot the scene, and it all comes together, and then you get to go
Right.
home that night like, oh, that was sick, like
Right.
so there is that to it as well. But yeah, man, I mean, I could talk about it forever. I'm
Yeah. Oh
super
yeah, for
stoked on
sure.
it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Could work with any one actor or actress that you haven't got the chance to work with, who would it be?
man. Dude, I'm like, I love and hate these questions, but like, because I
Yeah.
feel like I'm always so bad at them.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, for sure.
I just think that there's so many cool people out there, and I'm always so bad at like thinking of names. Um, I always have to say that I wish I could have worked with Robin Williams.
100%, yeah.
That dude would have been so cool to see that dude do his thing.
Right.
And man, yeah. Outside of that, I'm really just looking to work with anyone that does carry a lot of passion with what they do, right?
Right.
So that doesn't even mean they have to
100%.
be like a household name.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but so anyone that is like very passionate about this, and I mean, to be honest with you, got to check some bucket lists here. I mean, working
Right.
with the working with Ralph and Billy was just super cool. That was something
Absolutely.
I always thought
Yeah.
would be cool to meet those guys, and then even too in John, Josh, and Hayden,
Right.
their portfolio of work is so cool,
Right.
so um, so influential
Yeah.
in pop culture. So yeah, dude, just I've been lucky enough to meet and work with some of these folks. I guess already is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, man, I mean, out there in the future, I don't know what it holds, but yeah, anybody that's super stoked on the craft and like really puts their heart into it,
Yeah.
I'll be stoked to working with them.
Yeah.
Stoked to be working with them for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, as we wrap up, one thing I do gotta mention in I just kinda hit my mind, in the opening scene of you in the fight, when you said, "That explains why it smells like shit," you absolutely nailed that line, by the way.
That explains why he smells like shit.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
dude, thank you,
Yeah.
dude. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, it's always
Yeah.
hard, and you're talking about season one, right? We're
Yeah, like,
messing with,
when y'all
yeah,
were
yeah,
saying, like, Billy stinks and all that.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Billy, yeah. Dude, thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. I always have a tough time as just a person watching myself back on camera,
Yeah.
and I usually do my best to critique myself,
Yeah.
and because my goal is to always kind of do better. And yeah, sometimes I never know how people
Yeah,
take
that
that
was
line.
awesome. Yeah,
Thank you,
yeah,
dude. I really
yeah,
appreciate that, man. I mean, yeah, to be honest with you, sometimes when I'm here, I'm like a little bit like, I think I blew that. But
yeah,
I really
yeah,
appreciate
yeah,
that you dig it, man. So yeah,
yeah,
dude, thanks for that, man. I
yeah.
appreciate it.
As we, wrap up, you have anything upcoming project-wise or anything you wanna promote or anything like that?
Yeah, yeah, totally, man. Let's see. So there's a obviously Cobra Kai. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That's
Yeah.
doesn't need to be said, but hey, there's great stuff coming. So keep a watch out. Then the this movie I just did last year called Sweet Dreams with Johnny Knoxville and Bobby Lee and some other amazing talents is out now streaming. So you can
Okay.
look that up, Sweet Dreams. I played a supporting character in that. That's a kind of a raunchy comedy, but it's got a really good heart to it, really good story to
Right.
it. Um, and I think that most Cobra Kai fans would have a good time with
Right.
that one. And the other thing I have coming out in kind of more Q4 this year in the fall, early winter, late fall, early winter is a film I done called I did excuse me about 2 years ago, but it's finally
Okay.
coming out
Yeah.
called The Line.
Yeah.
Um, that is a really interesting kind of suspenseful drama with some dark humor, and that's about fraternity life
Right.
in kind of the frat culture. So yeah, I would say definitely check that one out. That one's got an amazing ensemble as well. We have Alex Wolf, uh, and we have Haley Bailey, the new Little Mermaid. We have John Malkovich, Denise Richards. We have Angus Cloud,
Oh, wow, yeah.
rest in peace. And that was one of the last things he shot. Um, and some other really, really awesome people. Another guy coming up, Lewis Pullman, and a handful of other great, great folks.
Right.
So really cool ensemble. And so yeah, I think that would be fun just to watch if you just to see those folks in it. But yeah, we all came
Absolutely.
together and worked really hard and created a a pretty good pretty good feature. So that'll be out in theaters in a couple months. But you can find it on
Absolutely.
IMDb and stuff and check it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's about it for me, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks for having
Well,
me.
yeah, Bo, thanks again for coming on and appreciate your time, and, yeah, thank you for coming on once again. It's great speaking with
Yeah,
you.
dude, it's been a pleasure, man. Yeah, keep me posted. I can't wait to see this, man. Have a good day. Thank you.